Spatter dot?
is completely open when it's like this. It doesn't open wide like the other lilies.
You can actually see it right there.
See that yellow flower? Spatter dot is really, really important, like wetland environment. Spatter dot.
Spatter dot.
Oh, is that a guard? You can't see from here. Ooh, I'm sorry. Water. Yeah. Now is that the native?
Yeah, the Florida guard.
Up here, the beginning of the cell is like, there's tons of them there. Huge right now, yeah.
Yeah, I got some good video.
Guys, there's a small gator up to the left.
Don't fall in there.
Don't scare it off, but also probably don't get too close to it.
Oh man, that's awesome.
To the right.
Go to the right, Trish.
To the right.
Smoke by gator.
That gator don't care about us. Man, I can't. No, he's sleeping.
Nope, now he's about to go out.
No, he's sleeping.
Nobody should be past where I am. Except for Ranger Julie. Ranger Julie can get as close as she likes with that encounter you had last year.
As we know, Ranger Julie doesn't like to get all that close to the alligator.
Yeah. She knows how to charm
She's an alligator charmer. As long as you stick close to her, you'll be all right.
Well,
We have photographic proof.
yeah.
They got separated between two huge alligators. 4 of them with her. And these huge alligators.
Hey guys.
Go back to sleep, buddy.
So this is a good time to talk about their skin and stuff. So you see all these ridges that they have on their backs? Under each of those ridges are a bony plate called a scoop. I should have had one in my pocket. If I was a good ranger, I would have had one. But I have one in the office I can show you when we get back. And so those little bony plates, they give protection to these alligators from predators. They do have a thick skin, but they also have that. It's sort of like an armor. But they also carry blood vessels through them. So a lot of times you'll see an alligator like this sunning itself, or you'll see them sometimes just with their head and their back exposed and the rest of them underwater. They're thermoregulating when they do that. So those scoots with those blood vessels will carry the warm blood through the rest of their body and help them maintain their internal temperature. Being cold-blooded, they need that to survive. Alligators will they live according to their warmth. So when it's warm out, they're more active, they eat more. When it's cold, they're very inactive, they eat very little. They can go a very long time without eating and wait until it warms up to eat something because they need all that energy to digest the food. Anybody have any other questions about the alligator? Always questions.
Do you have a specific, do you know how long they can go without eating?
I have been told that they can go up to a year without eating.
That's insane.
I don't know if that's 100% true, but it came from a very reliable source. So I challenge you
To go find
to
out.
look that up.
So, guys, with all reptiles, most reptiles, like big alligators, crocodiles, they have very slow metabolisms, especially when the weather's cooler. So in January, even though it doesn't get real cold here, they slow down. So if they captured a really big meal in, say, November, they might not have to eat for a very long time. And so they just slow their metabolism down and just live off of reserves, if you will, until they need to. So they don't have to eat like we do because we are endothermic. They're ectothermic. So we have to produce our own heat, correct?
Mm-hmm.
And so we use a lot more calories than ectotherms. So that's why they can go for so long. And they can also have a much larger meal at one sitting than we can.
They can, but they don't prefer to. The alligators actually will go for what's easiest for them, and it's easiest for them to eat a small meal. So they'd go for a fish or a turtle, maybe a bird, before they'd go for a deer, just because it's easier for them. But we've asked the scientists that work here what they find that the alligators eat most often, and it turns out to be snails.
What? So random.
Snails. So an alligator can eat 4 to 6 snails and be good to go for a while.
So they would just like eat the shell and everything?
Yep, just crunch it down.
And these are pretty good sized snails too.
Yeah,
Right, they're not like a tiny.
yeah, big snail.
Could you talk a little bit about how the female does the eggs in her mouth? And...
Absolutely, absolutely. So alligators have a pretty elaborate mating system, mating dance, you could say. We get to observe all of these behaviors here on the Anhinga Trail, and a couple of months ago, the male alligators were all bellowing. So they're one of the few reptiles that have vocalizations. I think they may be the only reptile that has vocalizations. They have that bellowing sound, which is it's a deep guttural vibration. It's amazing. If you ever have the opportunity to hear it, it's just wonderful.
The males do it, right?
The males do it.
Okay.
They will hiss to protect themselves, and then they will also, the baby alligators will chirp or kind of bark when they're born. So these alligators will mate, they'll dance around, they'll nuzzle their snouts next to each other, they'll swim alongside each other, they'll decide to mate, they'll mate. After the mating, unlike the Anhinga where they're kind of a couple, the male alligator is completely out of the picture. The female alligator is on her own. She builds a nest. She'll select an area that's a little bit above the water line because she knows that she doesn't want her eggs to drown. So she'll select this area. She will excavate with her long claws. Oh, we have a purple gallinule?
right there.
Oh, how fun.
Yeah, Beth showed it.
I love
You
the
guys
purple
see the purple
gallinule.
gallinule, you guys? The one with the red and the yellow and the beak, the
Excuse
white
me.
head. And if you look at
I'm
its
gonna take a
feathers, it actually
picture.
looks like this iridescent purple.
Yeah, they're beautiful. They're long yellow legs, even though you can't see them. They're perfect for walking across that spatter dog. So the female alligator will build this nest. She'll deposit her eggs in there. Then she'll collect vegetation from around. She'll bring it over and she'll pack it in that nest and around it. So a bird has to sit on top of the nest to keep the eggs warm. The alligator actually uses that rotting vegetation, sort of works as a compost, and it keeps that nest warm.
This is, oh, sorry, Julie.
That's okay, go ahead.
The yellow legs and how it can really stand on that spatter dog perfectly. And there he goes.
What was its name?
A purple gallinule. It's one of my favorite birds. They're so pretty. But you don't see them all the time.
They're very pretty.
Did you guys see how it pulled that leaf closer to itself so it can just walk across?
Look how beautiful and vibrant color. Looks like it's playing there. Yeah.
Got 'em. Zoom in. When I'm done with these, I can put it into